on to another story, a sad story, one I wasn't expecting. And it's about this man behind us, Dele Alli, who spent a long time at Tottenham and was successful under Mauricio Pochettino with Son and Harry Kane, and then kind of just fell off the face of the earth. And we remember the last Amazon documentary before Arsenal was on Spurs. And one of the more popular, notable clips that come out of that was when Mourinho essentially called out Dele and told him not to waste his career, called him lazy as well in training. Dele came out with an interview today with Gary Neville on The Overlap. I think it's Sky Sports production. And came out with some interesting things. He opened up about being in rehab for 6 weeks, which he just got out of. He was addicted to sleeping pills. He talked about how he wanted to retire at age 24. The trauma he had when he was a child, molested at 6 years old. His mother was an alcoholic. His father was essentially out of the picture, still is. A lot. And I feel like such an asshole because I've criticized this guy so much. But what happened? How can you go from one of the most promising young English footballers in the world to a guy who just does not care about football, doesn't want to play, nobody wants him, getting pushed around, going to Turkey at such a young age? And that's where players usually go to finish off their careers. I didn't really understand it. So I feel stupid, and it's a really sad story, but understandable. And I felt like a lot of people, including myself, probably should have seen the warning signs a long time ago that you can't just lose your ability to play football anymore. It doesn't work that way.
The default setting, I think, for fans, and I include myself here, is when you see a young, rich, super talented player drop off the edge of the world, it's because he's just been broken by the success, too much fame, too much money too early, like the party too hard, right? Which is so against what happened to Dele Alli. But we all jumped on that, didn't we? Because he was so good. And then watching the Amazon documentary and the word lazy was used, and suddenly, oh, well, he's lazy, he doesn't want to train. Fact of the matter is, of all the players, he is not a lazy player. He trains hard. He's always trained hard. And actually, Mourinho apologized to him, he said in the interview, a week later. But that wasn't, of course, shown on the documentary. So he's been playing with that brush already. So, yeah, it just shows that young, well, just athletes in general, yeah, they're rich and everything's going right for them, but behind the scenes, we just don't know what's happening. We have no clue what's happening, right? So how dare we judge them?
And that's what really, pissed me off about Spurs, is that Mourinho, after seeing him in training, realized you're not a lazy player, apologizes to him, but no one comes out and says anything. Yeah. Spurs, Mourinho, and they just let this thing fly by.
I didn't even think much of it at the time.
Yeah. No, I just think that, also, we can't, we are judging them, but they are people, of course, but we also can't assume the worst. I wouldn't say, you didn't know, but you also wouldn't assume something so tragic happened to him. You know what I mean? You're not always assuming, you know what, give yourself the benefit of the doubt as well. And I think now it's we have to just make, I think him coming out, what is so important about this is now the future and the mental health of the footballers and the substance abuse. He was kind of alluding to that a lot of them might be going through with sleeping pills.
Yeah,
but
it's a big problem.
Let's make it a conversation then. We're still gonna, naturally judge footballers and the way they play, but let's try and keep it on the pitch, not off the pitch.